What up, everybody? In the credits of the final episode of Power Book 2 Ghost, Tariq received a phone call from somebody asking him for help, and Tariq responded to tell them to bring the smoke and we'll lay them out. At this point, I do think it was Tommy Egan who called Tariq. Not because Tariq said that they'll be family for life, because he also called Braden and Effie his family in Season 3, and he definitely considers Diana his family after they bonded through Diana's pregnancy and their lost child. And there could have been a time jump by the time this scene took place, and Tariq might not necessarily still be talking to any of those characters on a regular basis, even Braden. They could have definitely grown apart over time with both of them doing their own thing. But the reason I think it was Tommy is a clue in the wording. When Tariq told the person to tell the people who this person's beefing with to bring the smoke, this is a clue it was Tommy, because in Season 1, Tommy told Tariq he wants all the smoke. And I've had a lot of people in my comments over the past couple days asking me why a grown man would be calling a kid for help. And that's a valid point, and something I'll get to in a minute when I talk about why Tariq shouldn't help Tommy fight his war. But even if it isn't Tommy, these same principles about why Tariq shouldn't help Tommy will apply to any other character who could be calling him also, unless it's Braden or Effie calling about somebody who is directly affecting Tariq's business, like somebody moving in on their territory. For anything else, Tariq should definitely avoid getting involved. Reason number 1 is one of Tariq's main selling points to Chinadu when convincing Chinadu to let him become his New York distro is that he won't let attachments or emotions get in the way of business. So like I said, unless this phone call is directly about the business, which we can tell that it most likely isn't, and definitely isn't if this is Tommy calling him, then he shouldn't get involved. And Tariq said he was going to learn from his father's mistakes, and we know that Ghost was constantly saving Tommy from the time that they were kids. Kay even had stories of Jamie saving Tommy. If Tariq really wanted to learn from his father's mistakes, he would leave Tommy to the wolves instead of going to Chicago to help him. Notice how Chinadu made the business decision not to get involved with Noma's beef with the Tejadas even after Noma lost her daughter, who's Chinadu's niece. Some may say that's heartless, but I say it's smart. In the game, the key isn't always winning every battle. Sometimes it's just living to see another day. When Chinadu was convincing his men not to follow Noma, he told them, if you follow her, you'll be dead by tomorrow morning. I'll guarantee you. Getting me to reason number 2 why Tariq shouldn't get involved in Tommy's war is that he doesn't know the lay of the land. If Tommy's calling for help in Chicago, this isn't an area that Tariq knows or that he's familiar with. And you should never rush to make moves in unfamiliar territory without first knowing the lay of the land. Tariq doesn't know who any of the major players are or anything. Tariq doesn't know anybody that Tommy's working with, or if Tommy's even thinking with a clear head. He doesn't even know if they're fighting a winning battle or not. These are potentially some real killers that Tariq's planning to go to war against. Miguel Garcia and the Insane Prince gang, who we've already seen what they're capable of in Season 2. Or it could even potentially be Diamond and Jannard Sampson and the CBI gang and the other gangs. Because if all those gangs still had Tommy's back, he definitely wouldn't be calling Tariq. And Tariq definitely doesn't want to get involved in that kind of beef. Getting me to the third reason why Tariq shouldn't help Tommy, because this isn't his war. Isn't this the exact same thing that Tommy told Tariq in Season 3 of Ghost? That he wasn't going to get involved in Tariq's war because it wasn't his war to get involved with in the first place. Tariq tried to appeal to Tommy by saying that they're family, and Tommy didn't care, letting Tariq know that he's dead in New York, knowing that Tariq didn't have any backup or allies, and that the Tejadas could have been seriously after him. For all Tommy knew, Monet delivered Tasha's address to Kate, hoping that he would kill Tasha. How does he know that Monet didn't do that to make sure there was no retaliation for her killing Tariq? He didn't know, and neither did he care. Tariq finally made it to the top of the game, where he always wanted to be. He doesn't need to do anything to jeopardize that. And like he told Braden, he needs to start moving smarter than ever. And this includes utilizing Power Law 26 of the 48 Laws of Power. keep your hands clean. Tariq is already using this law to perfection by becoming the ghost in the machine. Jumping into a messy beef with Tommy is doing the opposite. And by this point, with Tariq at the top of the game, he should have hitters to do his dirty work for him instead of getting his hands dirty at all. Unless it's some kind of secret mission like Ghost was on wiping out his whole organization at the end of season 2 of Power. When Noma wanted Tariq dead in episode 1, she didn't tell Obi, let's strap up and take care of these motherfuckers. She put 100 bands on both Tariq and Brayden's heads each. And when Chinadu withdrew his men, and she no longer had the 5-1 advantage, she wasn't stupid enough to go to war anyway. At this point, she resorted to the only thing she had, which was calling the cops because the Tejadas killed her daughter. Getting me to the fourth reason Tariq shouldn't help Tommy, and the only reason why Tommy would be calling Tariq for help in the first place, and that's because Tommy is desperate. There's no other reason why Tommy would be calling Tariq other than this is his last resort. And that is the answer to a lot of people's question, why would a grown man be calling a kid for help? Like they say, desperate times calls for desperate measures. I can see Tommy telling Tariq, you know I wouldn't be calling you if I had anyone else to turn to. And that's why Tariq responded on the phone that they'll be family for life. And because Tommy is desperate, he most likely isn't thinking straight, and there's a good chance that he's back to his old ways and getting coked up. And if Tommy's desperate, not thinking straight, and coked up, he's guaranteed doing whatever he's planning on doing based purely out of emotions. Getting me back to point number 1 and Tariq telling Chinadu that he wouldn't let emotions get in the way of business. And the fifth reason why Tariq shouldn't be helping Tommy is, does Tariq really know for sure if he can trust Tommy Egan? Because people do change with time, and the fact that Tommy is even calling Tariq for help to begin with shows us that he has changed. Because at one point Tommy cared for Tariq and wanted to look out for his best interest. Getting him involved in a war with either Miguel's crew or CBI, possibly in a war with both sides, isn't looking out for Tariq's best interest at all. And yes, Tommy has actually called Tariq for help before, so this wouldn't be the first time. When Tommy killed Joe Proctor, he called Tariq and told him to leave the back door unlocked. But this is different because he's now potentially putting Tariq in the line of fire. And when I say that does Tariq know if he can actually trust Tommy, doesn't mean that I think Tommy's going to set him up, but more like, can he trust that Tommy's making a smart decision and fighting a war that he can actually win? Can he trust that Tommy isn't about to get himself killed getting involved in this war? Again, going back to Chinadu and Noma as a reference. When Noma told Chinadu that the Tejadas booked a flight, Chinadu told her, clearly this is a trap. How do we know that Tommy isn't about to lead himself and Tariq right into a trap? I mean, it would really be a shame if he calls Tariq to Chicago for the final episode of Force, only to get them both killed, especially after Tariq just ended his series at the top of the game. And we know Tommy is changing and likely doesn't care if Tariq gets killed as long as he reaches his end goal, whatever that may be, by enlisting Tariq into his war. In season 2 of Force, it was Tommy who gave his own mother the bag of coke that caused her to relapse and end up in the hospital fighting for her life. And Tommy was just gonna leave Kate there to die when he found her if JP wouldn't have heard him come in and call for help. So what makes us think that he actually cares about Tariq anymore? And it was already said that in season 3 of Force, we're going to see a side of Tommy Egan that we thought we'd never see. I don't know what that means, but it definitely isn't good news for Tariq if he's going to get in the middle of Tommy's war. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.